Hello and welcome to everyone. Today we have let's say another great MMA fighter, BKFC fighter. It's Josh Burns. So, Josh, can you please say a few sentences about yourself for the introduction so we can continue? Go for it.
Okay, well, I'm Josh Burns. I fight out of Hammer House with Mark Coleman. Fought in the Bellator, XFC, and now BKB, and I switched over to BKFC here in the United States.
Excellent. When did you start training? I mean, when was your first touch with martial arts? How old were you?
I started boxing at 5 years old, so I guess you can say at five.
So, at the age of 5, this was your first contact, right?
That is correct.
Can we discuss your nickname?
Mark Coleman gave me the nickname the Hammer. Mark Coleman's the original Hammer, so it was an honor to be passed down to myself from a UFC Hall of Famer and like a big brother to me. So that's why he gave it to me.
Outstanding, outstanding, really. So, is Mark Coleman coaching you or someone else?
Mark Coleman coaches me, and I also have Victor Torres as my head coach right now.
Uh, you say you kicked off with boxing. Do you have a favorite strike? Maybe you are competing at BKB, BKFC, so I assume it's a boxing punch, right?
Correct. Yeah, I would say my jab. Out of all things, my jab pretty much sets everything up. I've got a pretty powerful jab for being a shorter guy. So yeah.
Excellent. Can we discuss your first amateur MMA fight? Can you get back 15 years before and
Well, the my first fight, amateur fight, was on the river in Detroit, and it was pretty quick. First round, about 36 seconds. Just I was more of a wrestler back then, so shot down, took him down, knee on belly, smashed him in his face, and pretty much it was a wrap.
how was your first professional fight?
First pro fight, almost the same, fairly same. At that time, I had not transitioned over to more stand up. I was more, just to be fair, I was more nervous, being an MMA fighter, so didn't want to be taken down. So being a wrestler, so I felt more comfortable taking people down and being in control.
Excellent. How did you choke out James Kilpatrick? I believe it's your third fight.
Say that again.
How did you choke out James Kilpatrick, your third fight?
Oh, uh, rear naked. Just choked him out pretty quick. He just took him down. He turned his back, gave me his back.
What can you say about Dave Hess fight? It was your first professional loss.
Uh, it was more of a controversy, but basically, it's just one of those things that happen. Just gassed out a little bit, but it was still early in the days before Dog, before all that stuff. So uh, let's just say we'll just agree that it was a loss, but it was a learning experience.
Yeah, outstanding. So, you competed at Bellator. Can you pinpoint to the greatest differences between Bellator and other promotions? That's question one. And question two, can you discuss your Bellator first fight?
Yep. So the difference with Bellator, I actually signed with the UFC, and I was going to fight Gabriel Gonzaga, and Gonzaga broke his hand, which at that time they were going to shelf me. So basically, Bellator picked up the contract, and I ended up fighting Eric Prendel, who's like a brother to me. He's a real good friend, but I was 6-1. Eric Prendel was 6-1. No one wanted to fight him. I couldn't get people to fight me, so it just made sense that we would, fight each other, and it's that next step in the progression of our careers. And we both decided that we were going to stand and punch. We weren't going to do takedowns. We weren't going to do any of that. We're going to do things that people want to see, which are heavyweights throwing heavy punches. And it was a crazy, great bout. It got stopped in the third due to a cut. Eric got me real good with an overhand right, and it ripped open my eye, and the ringside doctor decided to stop it. But it was a pretty good experience all the way around.
What do you think about Thiago Santos?
Thiago Santos, then I fought Thiago.
Yes,
Very respectful, good guy, but he came from Valley Tudo, so he did not understand the MMA rules. And if you watch my bout with him, He couldn't take me down, couldn't do anything, and that's the fight I tore my ACL. I was still able to stand and fight, but as I was pressing up, there's a still shot of it where Thiago just hammer fisted me in the back of the head, and not gonna lie, that discombobulated me. Put me in a weird position, and then he slapped on a rear naked real quick. So, good guy, didn't really know the rules, but strong. But that's pretty much it.
In your fight versus Rich Hale, it was your, I believe, light heavyweight debut. Can you please discuss the weight cut? Was it hard for you or?
Yeah, that was probably the first time that I've ever actually physically been rocked. Where, if you watch the fight, I mean, Rich didn't even hit me. I mean, it was a glancing shot that he had clipped me on the chin, and my whole body froze. And I lost, gosh, 73 pounds in about 2.5 months leading up to that fight. And the last about 25 pounds was pure water. And for anybody that knows, that's I'm coming from the 280s to drop down to 206. So I barely made the 206. I felt great. I felt great, thought I felt amazing going into the fight, looked great, was fast. But the second I got clipped, and it wasn't like Rich would tell you the same thing. It wasn't even a hard punch. It just locked me up. And so, anyways, after that, they make you go to the hospital. Come to find out, I was down like whatever it was, point some percent on fluid on my brain. So essentially, you could have hit me in the head with a purse, and I probably would have got knocked out. So it was a learning experience. Dropped way too much weight. I'd never go back down to 205.
So you wanna say that your body strength was 100% rocked?
Yeah, yeah. My body felt strong, but my head was not good. I had dehydrated too much.
Yes, yes, I understand you. All right. How did you finish Jack Rowe?
That would. I'm not even a jujitsu guy, but they call it a chicken wing, which I don't even know what that is. But I basically got on him, torqued his arm behind his back, and he tapped out.
Well, actually, I've seen chicken wing many times, but I don't know the Japanese name for that or the Brazilian. I also know it as a chicken wing.
Yeah, yeah, I know it's a chicken wing because I'm more of a catch wrestler through CSW with Coach Polson, and I had trained with Coach Polson for that month leading into that fight, and we just called it the chicken wing, and he just happened to, I got him down, put him on his back, and just rolled right into it.
Yeah. You fought in Bellator many times. Can you pinpoint to the most difficult Bellator opponent?
Actually, probably I would say probably the hardest opponent would have been Eric Prendel. Eric Prendel would have been the hardest just because I was, there was Eric Prendel's fight was not every fight that I fought in Bellator was short notice, less than 4 weeks notice. And besides Eric Prendel and Bobby Lashley. And Eric Prendel was probably by far the strongest and, the most well conditioned athlete that I fought. So I'd say that was definitely the toughest fight.
All right. Why did you transition after MMA to bare knuckle? What was the reason?
Well, I had two knee replacements, and so I tore my knee, both knees, and I started boxing. And if you watch all my MMA fights, as soon as I hit anybody with hands, they want to grapple, they want to go to the ground, they don't want to engage. And that was becoming more prevalent as my career went on because I wanted to stand more. So when I got the opportunity to fight for BKFC, this is about 4 years ago. Uh, that was Dave Feldman was just getting the BKFC up and running. They ran into some hurdles, and then so I went over to Europe, and I fought for 3.5 years in Europe for the BKB. And once BKC was up and running, Dave offered me to come back, and I can't turn that down. U.S. promotion, it's the largest promotion in the world by far, and you have the best competition in the BKFC. So if I want to challenge myself, that's where I want to be. And like I said, it favors me because I'm short and I'm powerful and I want to stand. So guys have to stand and punch. They can't run. So, and then obviously the bone on bone effect with the fist, not too many guys. You look at all my fights, all my wins, everything's under 3 minutes. and the only two losses that I have are to cuts. So I it tends to favor me.
Alright, you fought at BKB, now you will fight at BKFC. Can you please discuss your BKB fights, maybe pinpoint to some greatest ones? I know you fought for a long time, but the greatest BKB fights. Can you please talk about them?
Yep. Let's see. I would say my first fight at the O2 Arena, and for BKB, I fought a guy named Derry, and it was pretty intense because it was the first time fighting in that arena, and they made it, obviously a big deal to fight the O2, and ESPN covered that, so it was the first time the bare knuckle scene was getting that kind of coverage, so that was kind of exciting. Obviously, knocked him out in the second round. It was pretty intense, and then I fought in Liverpool, and I fought a guy. Oh my gosh, what is his name? Little short guy. He was like 5'9", but he weighed as much as I did, and he was 11-0. He had knocked everybody out. He was just that like the little butterbean of Europe. And I remember fighting that kid. I can't remember. Oh, Billy Hawthorne. His name was Billy Hawthorne.
I watched that
And
fight, but I didn't know that's him. I watched that fight.
yeah, so Billy Hawthorne, and going into that fight, it was amazing, because I'm from America, we're about aesthetics, and I'm short at 6 foot tall. I'm short, and he was shorter than me by a good deal. And America, we're all about cosmetics, and Europe, not so much. At least not in England. There, they didn't really care. And this kid came in, he just looked like a little bowling ball. And I remember everyone talking about, oh, you got to keep your hands up. You're going to get knocked out. You got to keep your hands up. And I would say that was exciting because there was a lot of, I would just say a lot of animosity in between leading up to that fight. And I knocked him out with probably not even the hard punch. It was just a dip and hook, and he went flat down. And so for all the hype and everything, that was kind of fun.
So people didn't believe you're gonna knock him out, right?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, to give Billy credit, I mean, we're friends today, but at the time he had knocked out 11 guys. They were all my size. They were or bigger. They were big guys, and he got in. And he'd been knocked down before, but never been knocked out, and he always came back and knocked everybody out. And I was just like, okay, yeah, you got to give your opponent respect. So I don't care what anybody says. You go into a fight, you're always nervous because you think of the best and you think of the worst outcomes, So everything's going through your head, so you have to respect them. So, and when we got in there and started banging, he clipped me a couple times, and I was like, I've been hit a hell of a lot harder. So, and then at that point, then I decided to, open up, and it ended the way it did.
Excellent. So now at BKFC you're scheduled to fight Sam Shoemaker, right?
That is correct. Yep.
So you have MMA experience. You have more MMA experience than him. I believe you're a guy with heavier hands, so it's gonna be very very fun fight to watch. I mean, I love to watch heavyweight guys because there are not much striking. There is maybe one two strikes, but powerful strikes. So it's gonna be a fun fight to watch for sure. So
Absolutely. Absolutely.
when will that fight go down? Did they say something or they are postponing again?
Nope. It's August 21st. August 21st in Wichita. Same arena, same venue, everything.
Outstanding, outstanding. Would you like to add something, maybe greet someone? Is there something we missed in this interview, Josh?
No, we got everything. We got everything. Everything's good. I'm just gonna get ready for you guys to tune in on the 21st of August because Sam Shoemaker, nice guy, respect him, but he ain't a fighter. He's a ballroom, like he fights in the bars, and he's got a punch that they think's tough. Look, every heavyweight hits hard. Everybody hits hard, but a couple of my boys fought him and they beat his ass to a pulp. So, and I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm a pressure fighter, so we're gonna watch him. We're gonna beat him up. I say he's gonna quit by the second round if he doesn't get knocked out in the first.
It's gonna be a hell of a fight. I can't wait for it to kick off. Thank you so much for this lovely interview, and I will post it early morning my time. Check in the morning. I will send you video.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. Thank you so much, Josh, and have a
All right,
great
bro.
day.
All right, you too. Bye
All
bye.
right. Goodbye.